we did today. This is Heidi's. And this is mine. So fancy.
I feel like we're over here being like slumber party. Like, I don't even know what we're doing these days. We're just over here having a party every day.
Look, we are just teenagers in grown-up bodies having teenager sleepover fun time.
That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. Like a little bit of all that thing.
Yeah.
We kind of do that every day. It starts with coffee and then just morphs into whatever we're going to do.
Yep.
Which is kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to kind of do an untherapy session like we've been doing. It's getting a little bit trickier to get people onto the podcast because we wanted people to have a voice, and people don't always want to have a voice. So we're working on that. That's our challenge right now. But I am always curious in how people are and how they tick and where they came from. And you definitely have not had a smooth life. And so I wanted to kind of dive into that and show people that you're real and you're raw, and maybe they'll be more willing to share with us if we can get your story out a little bit.
Okay.
Plus, I know your story, and I know how far you've come, so I think there's something to be proud of in there, and I hope that's what we come out of in the end today.
Well, and also, really quick, you know, it being a therapy session isn't a bad thing. You know, we made this podcast. This is our space.
Right.
And like you said, if we're going to showcase other people's lives and what makes them who they are today, then why not start with the hosts? You know?
Exactly. And tell a little bit about ourselves.
So, like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit random today, just to kind of hit things, how they fell out of my mind as I remembered them from things you've told me. At what age did you learn that men were awful?
Oh, that's a hard one. Pretty early, probably 7 or 8, I was already having really bad vibes from men. You know, I was uncomfortable. I was just kind of, I didn't like.
Men in your life or men?
Like when my mom brought my ex-stepdad home, the first thing that he said was like, "Oh, hi, Madison. You know, I'm basically your new stepdad," is what, you know, how he introduced. And I was like, ew. You know, I was probably 8.
Okay.
You know. But I started realizing pretty quickly after that men, not in my life, but outside of my life, were also not very nice.
Right.
You know, I was probably about 12. And, you know, when you're 12, you're kind of getting your teenage body, you're in the in-between, and a lot of my friends have been wearing bikinis. And that was the new thing they wanted to try, you know, the 2-piece swimsuit. And so, of course, I wanted to try it. So I got this really pretty one. I was so proud of it. It was like blue and brown, and it had like a butterfly that was sparkly. Like, yeah, it was one of the, I was so proud of it. One day my mom and I go to the beach, and she's sitting in the sand, like next to our stuff. I'm playing in the water, and I hear her call my name, but it wasn't like a normal, like, oh, hey, you know, it was like a frantic, like something, you could tell something was wrong.
Okay.
And I turn around, and there's an old man touching himself, looking at me.
Just on the beach.
Mm-hmm. And there was nobody else. It was kind of a private beach. Not private, but it wasn't off of the
specific. Like
it wasn't off of the seawall. So it was, you had to like make the effort to go there, and we were the only ones there. He was looking directly at me. You know, it was hard. And then just.
Do you feel like your mom helped you in the moment, or do you feel like your mom didn't know what to do in the moment? Like
kind of both. So she did definitely like get me closer to, you know, like we kind of met in the middle.
Right.
And she was like telling the guy to go away. And he kind of slipped into the bushes where the cars were. And then this other man came from like down the beach and was like, "Oh my God, I saw the whole thing. Like, let me help you to your car." You know, it was, he helped out. I think my mom, you know, did the best that she could. You know, I don't ever think that she was.
So at age 12, you've already had like experiences where Were you ever around men in the home that made you feel threatened?
As a teenager, yeah.
As a teenager?
Yeah.
So later on, you
Mhm.
had more experience with that. We'll go back to that then.
And I just want to say really quick that, I never think that my mom turned a blind eye per se. I think that she did the best that she could with the knowledge that she had. I don't fault her. Maybe
no,
when I was
that there's no malice there.
maybe when I was younger,
Maybe.
there was a little bit of anger, but as an adult, it's different, and I view
Right.
it differently. She didn't know. I didn't know how to really communicate.
I think she did the best that she knew how
Exactly.
with the knowledge that she
Yep.
had in the moment at the time. The
Yep.
same thing that you're doing with your daughter.
Exactly.
And just because we're talking about experiences that you went through doesn't mean that it's any different for
Yeah,
your
and
mom.
I don't want,
So just
trying to
to
highlight,
give full
like-
credit, yes.
yeah, trying to highlight traumas and stuff. You only hear one side of the story, but there were great sides too. It's just trying to talk about harder things.
Yeah.
Sometimes paints people in a bad light, and I don't
Right.
want that because
Right. No, I didn't think about
You
that. The reason that I asked that question right off the bat is because since I've known you, you have such an instant distaste of men. Like you literally,
Yes.
like it literally to me is shocking that you are a married woman because of how you just don't like men. And so that's kind of why I led into that as the first question, because when I
Yeah.
started hanging around you, I was like, dang, like,
Yeah, I'm
just very extreme.
super defensive.
Yes,
But
yes, and that's kind of why I led into it with that very
Yeah.
right off the bat, because just since I've known you, you're just anti-men. Like it's just always been. It's. What was your childhood like preschool era, like elementary school?
I lived in Arizona.
Okay.
Little kitty's trying to get into some trouble over here. I lived in Arizona for 2 years with my mom and dad together. And then my grandpa passed away when I was 5. And on the way back from the funeral is when my parents broke up.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved to Texas to be with my grandma, and also as my mom's kind of picking up pieces. And I feel like I took on a lot of the divorce. I feel like, I don't know, maybe if I was offered therapy back then, I probably would have benefited from it.
Right.
Because, a lot of people don't think about the child's, I guess, point of view or what they go through when something like that major happens,
Right.
So,
well, and from what you've told me, it was very hostile. Like you were getting to witness them just.
yes, so there were like good moments, of course,
Oh,
but
yes.
one of my most vivid memories is of them screaming at each other, and I think every person in a relationship has kind of gone through that,
I think so.
but it was definitely something that stuck with me, and it was almost immediately after that we ended up moving, and I didn't
And so moving is you and your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's just you and her, and this is going into like middle school area.
No, that was 5.
So you're 5 at this point.
We move, and then I start kindergarten.
Okay.
So everything happened like 6 months prior to kindergarten.
Okay, so where do you guys move to? Where are you living now?
Texas, in Houston.
Back in
yeah.
Houston.
Which was, I kind of talk about those years where we lived with my grandma as the magical years, because my grandma, we talked about this last episode, that she was like Mary Poppins. Like she brought magic to everything. So I had
that.
like a good couple of years of like magical and fairies
Where
and the
everything was
holidays.
peaceful.
And, yes. And then we moved into a separate house, and my mom was seeing a guy at the time, and things were pretty hostile. Like, not at first, it kind of happens where everything's happy, and then like it starts to kind of go downhill. It was one of those. By middle school, I was pissy. I was angry.
What about friends? Was it easy to make friends in middle school? Were you the popular girl, the angry girl?
I would not consider myself the popular girl at
Okay.
all. But I also really enjoyed hanging out with the misfits, like, the people that weren't popular. I enjoyed talking to them more
I think
because
those are my favorite people.
I feel like they were more genuine.
Yes.
But no, I had a really hard time with people in school. A lot of people just said really crappy things. And I think that now, you know, looking at it as an adult, I'm like, well, yeah, we were all going through
Right.
our own stories in teenage or middle school and teenage years. Those are hard years. Like,
Yeah.
you know, those are hard. But no, I definitely felt like the odd one out, the outcast. I was the weird girl. I was like coloring my hair and trying to wear it spiky. And in middle school, I used to wear like 2 different colored shoes and bracelets and ties. Like, I tried to be
being your unique little
yeah, I
self.
tried. I was definitely being crazy.
I've seen your whole history with your hair and things like that. It's
Yeah.
super fun to kind of see the era.
My hair has always been like, I don't know. I
Right.
love it. My mom always talks about. She's surprised
Oh,
I
it's got
still
a full
have
story.
hair.
No,
Like,
for real. Like, even in the amount of time I've known you, I'm wondering how you're keeping the hair in your head. But you know what? It seems to work for you.
it is what it is. I like having colorful hair.
All right, so you're going into high school. What's high school like for you?
I struggled in freshman year, really bad.
Struggle to how?
In every way. So my grades were crappy.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't really paying attention. Mentally, I was not good.
Checked out.
Checked out in the sense of self-harm and, you know, thoughts at this point. No attempts, but definitely thoughts of it.
Okay.
The self-harming, though, was something I struggled with for a really long time. I started that in middle school, and it just kind of stuck with me. But after that, like, freshman year was really hard. I had kind of it was an abusive relationship, I would say.
So before we move along, do you mind if I ask
Yeah.
about, like, I've never really understood that. That's not something that I ever did or even really knew about aside from shows. I kind of saw it a little bit, but didn't really understand it. What made you want to like, why would you do something like that? What is that?
Honestly, I don't really remember
Okay.
when it started. I just remember that I would feel so overwhelmed with emotion that if I harmed, then it would kind of snap me out of that moment.
Interesting.
And then there were other times where I felt like, you know, with depression, I would be really numb for like months. I wouldn't feel anything. I just kind of be, or I would lash out and be really angry. And so I would harm so that I kind of brought myself back, if that
Like
makes
to
sense.
feel
Like
something or
yeah,
to...
like it to make you feel something, and then you can kind of snap out of it, I guess. And then it just became like a dependency of, oh, I feel anxious, oh, I feel depressed, oh, I want to self-exit. You know, we have to be sensitive about stuff like that. But, you know, it was one of those that every time I felt something big and I didn't know how to handle it, I handled it by harming.
Okay, like it basically just, we can't dismiss it as a simple thing, but like it's like we calorie eat or we do the thing, like it's something that you're finding that gives you whatever you needed in that moment. And it just happened to be something harmful that was giving you that.
Yeah. You know, some people smoked weed in high school.
That's
some
what
people,
I'm saying.
Yeah, I was not. I was harming myself. And, you know, I think back to like the people who knew me. Like I said, in freshman year, I kind of had an abusive relationship, and I feel like after that, things got a little bit better. When I got out of that relationship, I had, you know, a few friends that came around and were like, oh my God, I saw that. Like, you know,
we're able to kind of bring you out of it.
A little bit. I was definitely still harming behind the scenes. Like, just,
in secret.
yeah. And then one friend found out and told, and I was like really, really mad at them and stopped talking to them for a long time. And it, looking at it now, I'm like, man, that was so dramatic, you know. But also, I have different coping skills now.
It was a betrayal.
I didn't.
You had a secret,
Yeah,
and they betrayed you.
well, and I didn't have coping skills back then, so learning to deal with big emotions and a turbulent home life and not feeling comfortable and being victim of, you know, weird sexual things happening, like it just was a lot for my brain, and I had no coping skills. And you know, at like 14 they tried to put me in therapy, and I was just so angry already. You know, I didn't go into it with the mind of like, I want to change. You and I were just talking about this.
Right.
Of like, in order for therapy, I feel like in order for therapy to work, you have to be willing to make those changes.
I feel like in order for anything to work, you have to be
See,
willing
and I
to make
was
those
not
changes.
willing. And
You
every
were
time
going grudgery.
and every time she would say something or give me, you know, oh, well, you should try this, I'd be like, that's stupid. Why would I do that? You know, like, it was just, I was not ready.
You were willing to admit you might need some help.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Well,
I think
stubborn,
we go
you
that
know.
era too. Yeah.
It's fine.
How long did you have thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore? Like, how long did you struggle with?
It started at like 11 or 12 that I was like, okay, I'm probably just gonna wait till I graduate and then I'm gonna like just disappear and, you know, check out. And then that kind of stopped when I got with Anthony, so that was like 11th grade.
Like, kind of gave
So,
you more reason to
yeah,
want to be
you know,
here.
I mean, I still struggled with self-harm for a couple of years, and it was something that we were, the last time I did it was like 21. So like 9 years ago, you know, I still
Okay.
struggled with that, but I still wanted to stay at that point, you know. I felt alone, and then Anthony I had known off and on since the 8th grade. So like when we got together, we were able to talk about things differently because we had known each other for so long that it was like comfortable.
Right.
So him and I started telling each other, trauma bonding.
Right,
you
right,
know.
like you do. Yeah, like you do.
And after that, you know, when we started dating, that was when I was like, wait a second, I'm actually like kind of happy. Like, I'm okay, you know. I still struggled with depression up until I would say like 25, and that's when we moved here.
Okay.
And things were a little bit different. You know, I connected with nature, and I feel like it really helped my brain. You know, just like the walking, it helps.
Right, right.
You know, I was able to
right.
kind of, I mean, I still have my bad days, but, you know, it's better.
I think we all do, though.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. I never really truly understood those kind of thoughts until last year. And it was the first time ever I remember thinking that it would just be easier. It would just be easier. Like, it wasn't about anything else. It wasn't about anybody else. It was just easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to be like that, to make sure that that wasn't my story, I feel like is a power play in both of our worlds.
Yeah.
Like, that you came back from whatever it was that made you not want, especially if you were going for, I can't imagine doing for years having those thoughts.
Yeah. It was hard, and especially like now when somebody tells me that they're struggling, I'm like, oh man, I understand, because I
Right.
dealt with it for so many years that, you know, you had it for like a year where you felt that. After a couple of months of it, you feel like there's no escape.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you've dug this hole, there's no way out. Trying to claw your way out of that after years is so difficult. And, you know, I still think that I see the repercussions of it today. Because, you know, for so long you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be here, so I don't have to worry about what the next step is, because I'm not going to experience it. Because I'm done.
You don't plan for your future anymore.
And so then, you know, you're 30.
Yeah.
And you're like, huh, Well,
Maybe
I'm still
we should do
here.
something. Okay, so you meet Anthony, things start getting a little better. What was your wedding like? Magical, fairy tales, all the things.
Not really.
Do tell. What was
I mean, it was still special.
Of course.
You know, it's still
I didn't mean it that
the
way.
bonding, of course.
Right.
It's still the bonding of you know, our relationship and whatnot. But I definitely think that it could have been very different. So I actually got married in my dad's office at work.
Okay.
From his boss.
And didn't you tell me that he didn't even
Nope.
have the decency to show up?
Mm-mm.
Like he
I lived-
literally just only knew how to be an absentee dad.
I lived with him at the time.
Okay.
I used his car to get there. I got married by his boss in his office, and his coworkers were my witness. And he went to Vegas that day. And I even did it before their shift. It was at like 6 o'clock in the morning because they had to work. So they were like, okay, if you want to get married, come in before our shift and we'll do it. So we went there before anybody would have been stationed or posted or anything. And he still didn't show up.
Just he is the stories you tell me about him. He's just literally not involved in your life.
No.
Like took no effort whatsoever.
No.
None whatsoever. What were your first years of marriage like? Did you guys live alone? Did you have a first apartment?
So
Did you live with others?
We rented a house for a very brief time. I mean, like maybe 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
We lived with his friend and his baby mama and babies, which he had twins at the time.
So roommates.
So we had roomies. Yeah, it was
okay. So from an apartment to roommates.
Well, when we got married, we were living in a bedroom with Roger.
Okay, so you started off in a bedroom, then went to the house, then went to the roommates, and this is all within the first year.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe the second year.
Okay.
Right in that time.
Okay.
The first year of marriage was hard in the sense of everybody kept telling us, oh, well, you know, the first year of marriage is going to be really difficult for y'all. And I think we started to overcompensate because we were afraid of, oh, well, what if we regret it? What if we hate each other? So we started being like two in each other's face. And
trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Why does everybody have an opinion? Why did you notice that? As soon as you got married, then everybody wanted you to have kids. As soon as you have a kid, then when you're gonna have
we got married at 21.
Right.
People were not very happy. I mean, some people were like, oh, cool, but there was a lot of, well, you're getting married really young, you're not gonna last. You know? And honestly, I was just like, if we don't last, we don't last. Like, it is what it is. Like,
that's what I mean by the opinions, though. Like, everybody has an assumption on something they know nothing about.
And I think our mistake was we listened to the assumptions of, like, oh, the first year of marriage is really hard. And we kind
Made it really hard?
Yeah. By trying to make it not really hard.
I think so.
But there was, you know, a day that both him and I sat down and we were like, what are we doing? You know?
Right.
And just kind of worked through it. And I mean, to this day, we still get on each other's nerves. We've been together for 14 years. Like,
right.
But it's still one of those, we'll stop and be like, you're my friend. Why are we arguing right now? You know?
What are we even doing right now? Be like, okay, so, you guys had the experience of being furloughed during COVID, right? We've talked about this a million times. I want to come at a different way. What's your theory on COVID? Like behind the scenes, how it happened, what happened. Like, not the fact that all of us got time off from work and got to party. Like, what's your theory of how we ended up in that position?
Okay, first of all, I don't think that COVID... Okay. Oh. Here, how do we say this nicely without getting canceled? Okay. I think that COVID is just another form of the flu. just like swine flu was, just like, you know, they had like the bird flu, things
Agreed.
like that. Okay, I think it was just another flu. But I think that they were trying to see what we would do. Like, I think the government was like, what's going to happen if we put them on lockdown? What's going to happen if we stop everybody from working?
Right.
I think that it was an experiment, honestly. And I know that tons of people died. And, you know, I'm not saying that that's a illegitimate cause of death or anything to be disrespectful. But I think that they were, you know, hospitals, or rather insurance companies, were benefiting from so many deaths from COVID. So, like, if a hospital reported 100 deaths, then, like, the insurance companies would get $100,000
I feel like it
or something.
took on a mind of its own.
I think
at
so.
first
I
there was
think
benefits from people
they
that
took it,
lost
they
people.
took it and ran.
And then I think it got blown out of proportion, just like everything does around here. People wanted money for money, and
Yep.
then it just got extreme, and now you
And
don't
like,
even know.
I had COVID. I caught COVID twice, 3 times. You know, I also had the swine flu back in like 2008 and almost died from that. And I mean, COVID, it sucked for like 3 days, and then you couldn't smell or taste anything for like 2 weeks. So it definitely did something. I'm not going to say that it's like, you know, oh, it's literally just as simple as the flu or something. Obviously, it was a different sickness. But why this one? Like, it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. You know, I feel like the swine flu was just as bad. We didn't go into lockdown then. You know, we weren't having to do the mask mandates, things like that. That's, to me, that's all new.
Right.
To me, that feels like there's something behind the scenes. It's just weird.
Do you feel like there's a fallout from it? Like, do you feel like there's consequences now that we're seeing? Like, do you think society?
Okay.
Do you think society is different now than
Yes.
before COVID?
Yes, and this is my reason why. Everybody, well, most people experienced having to stop working or work from home. They were given so much time to focus on themselves. You know, there was like a newfound freedom where people were like, well, wait a second. I'm not happy going to work 9 to 5. I'm happy making sourdough at home or making videos at home or soaps, or, you know, people were like, I actually really enjoy that I had free time and could do what I wanted and wake up when I wanted. And I think that people now kind of value their time more, in the sense of like, well, if I am going to go and work a 9 to 5, then I deserve to get paid like I'm working a 9 to 5 and giving up my time.
Yes.
You know, I feel like people value their time more, and companies are like, oh, these people
I feel
want
like
more
I've
money.
noticed that at work, that we're there for that hourly pay now. We're not there to work ourselves to death anymore. We're not there. Not that I don't have good effort in my job, but I used to exhaust myself and overexert myself, and like I was never good enough, and it didn't get me anywhere.
And like a friend of ours, an acquaintance of ours, he worked for a pretty big company, and he worked 60, 70 hours a week.
And he was fried.
I mean,
he was
giving
burnt
his
out.
life to this place, and he was burnt out, and they chose one little thing that he had been told was okay. They chose it, decided to fire him. They're trying to make it to where he doesn't get unemployment for being fired. Like, they are trying to screw him over at every step of the way. And this dude gave so much of his time to that company that now he's like, well, why would I want to do that again?
Right.
You know, it's the same thing. Like, people are seeing that their time is more valuable. And I think that that definitely stems from being on lockdown.
I think that's where we have a wave of new creativity.
I think so too.
People are figuring a way to get out of the 9 to 5.
That's, you know, that's why I decided to do my soaps.
Mm-hmm.
I still need a website for it, but I have like the Instagram and TikTok, and, you know, I did the markets, the like farmers markets, and that was great. It was super fun. but that's why I did it, because I was like, I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. I don't want to just be a cashier or drive around. I wanted to do my own thing. And it stemmed from that, where I was like, I actually really enjoyed being at home and having that time to myself.
Yeah. Have you been a stoner your entire life? Meaning, like, since you were a teenager, and most people get into it, have you always been a stoner?
No. So, in my teenage years, I was like, I could have been the poster child for
the
dare.
Preaching Patsy Barbie.
I was like, absolutely not. Why would I ever do that to myself? That destroys relationships. That's sick. That's gross. Those people don't do anything.
You were just judging all those happy people.
Oh, I sure was.
You
sure was. All the while, everybody from high school thought that I was a stoner.
Yeah, but
because I found this out towards the end of senior year, where one of like the more popular girls in school was like, oh, like she asked me, where do I buy weed from? And I was like, I don't smoke. And she goes, oh, we all thought that you were a stoner. And I was like,
vibe.
So, no, I was super against it for a long time. And then in my 20s, so I was probably like 22 when I took an edible. And it was really fun, but Anthony made me sleep it off.
Okay.
Because we were afraid we were going to get in trouble.
All right. Paranoid a little bit.
And then when we moved back to Houston, so probably like 23, 24, I started smoking with one of my friends.
Okay.
And when her and I started smoking, she was like, oh, have you smoked before? And I was like, yeah, totally.
You
never had smoked.
The cold
never
chick smoke?
Never smoked in my entire life.
How did that go for you?
Well, I worked the rest of my shift, baked out of my mind. It was really funny. But she was like one of the managers, so she was like, hey, just go work in the back. Like, go do this and you'll be okay.
Stare at a box for a minute.
So I was lucky enough to work in a smaller store that it was okay.
Nice.
But I definitely had to like collect myself.
Yeah, you were like, we gotta do this. Did you always want kids? Was that something that like you grew up saying, this is something I want in my life?
No. No, I remember when I was little, I would always like have a baby doll, play with my baby doll. Like I had stuff like that. But no, when my mom lost, a pregnancy. And that was kind of my first experience of like pregnancy in general. So I knew that being pregnant came with like the possibility of deep sorrow. So it kind of made me afraid of it, And then when my little sister came around, I was like, I will never have children. I was 15. I was not interested in having a small crying toddler around. And she was she was a badass kid, is what it was. Like, just straight up. Love her to death. She's my sister. But that experience, I was like, I will never have children. But then I got married. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe one kid won't hurt. And now I have my one child. And I think I'm done.
I see you go the rounds with her, and I can see why.
I think I'm okay. I don't think I want to deal with that again. Potty training? No. How you did 4 potty trainings?
But no. I don't understand the swing around that your kid does. Like, my kid, like, when they finally were potty, they were just done with it. Like, I don't remember how she just goes feral. I will never forget. This story has to be told. You know it does.
Tell it.
Like, she's been using the toilet for like 3 months or something like that.
It was like 2 months, yeah.
About 2 months. And there's a group of friends outside, and she just feral peed in front of everybody. Like,
she really did. She really did that.
I remember all of us looking at you, and you were like, oh.
And then what do you do at that point? She's already peed. She's already messed herself. So you're just like, all right, well,
Yeah,
you might as well
I don't
finish
know.
that.
She's a whole new experience for me. I don't remember that. Maybe I was a scary mom. We don't know.
You know what? It'll be great stories for when she has her boyfriends over.
Yeah, just straight. I think she just liked us all too much and
'Cause
didn't want to go inside.
Here's
maybe.
the thing. I have to pay my dues right now, okay? I'm in the middle of toddlerhood. I'm tired. I'm fried. But I keep thinking about all these great stories that I'm going to have when she's like getting ready for prom, meeting her boyfriend for the first time, at her wedding day. Oh, game on, sister, game on. Because if I had to do this now, she's going to have to deal with it later.
Yeah, she just some days, it's impressive.
I don't think
she can.
I don't think I've still forgiven her for the morning sickness that I had when I was pregnant with her. Because I remember telling my coworkers of like, she will be grounded until she's 15 for the morning sickness I had.
Right. You're like, no, thank you.
It was awful.
Okay, so there's quite a gap. So you were present in your sister's lives when they were little.
Yeah. So I babysat them.
Okay. So very present in their lives. You were second mom.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's been off and on. So the first time that I was like second mom was when my youngest sister was born. So Irie was 3.
Okay.
Her age. And my mom went to work 2 weeks after having India. So I basically had a newborn and a 3-year-old.
At what age?
20.
Okay.
Because we're 20 years apart, so
okay,
20.
Dang.
So, lesson learned, I was like, I don't know about this.
Nothing like
That's
some extreme birth control.
Very much so.
What's a piece of advice you would give to your mom if you could go back to your childhood? And what's something you would like to tell your mom?
Probably that you can't change people. Because I do definitely feel like you can give them like the opportunity to. You can give them the guidance, but you cannot force them to change. And also to love herself. She's a powerful woman, and I feel like sometimes you kind of get lost in the rat race of being the provider and the mom, that you kind of forget who you are as a person, and I feel like she should have been reminded of that.
Maybe. I think we all need to remember that a little bit more.
Even for myself, that's something I would tell myself too,
Right. What's something you think you learned from your mom? Like, I know that she was kind of a wild little mom.
Ooh, how to be resilient.
Okay.
How to get knocked down and stand back up, pick up the pieces and move on.
Just to keep trying.
Yeah.
No, I think that's an amazing thing. Like, let's see, I can't even think of how to word this. Who are some of the most influential women in your life besides your mom?
My grandma.
Okay.
I would say that's it, really. My mom and my grandma were the most influential. They were the ones that, my mom obviously took care of me, but my grandma took care of us.
Okay.
And so I got to see 2 different sides of like, I got to see the grandma who cares and the mom who cares, and I don't know, I feel like both of them were such resilient women, and I was raised by them, and everything I know, and all my manners and all of that, that's all from them.
Right. I hope one day I get to meet your grandma.
I hope so too.
Like, she just sounds like the coolest lady. Good or bad, we learned from those around us, and you explained to me about the signs and the planets. We were talking about it earlier today. Tell me again. The only reason I am bringing this up is because we always keep talking to all these people about their different walks of life and the different things that they do. And you were telling me that, like, we're from different planets?
Kind of.
Okay.
So this is like a theoretical concept in my brain, and it might have been the joint talking a little bit, but you know what? I'm gonna roll with it, okay?
You know what? What would we do without the
So-
joint?
So each zodiac sign is ruled by a planet.
Okay.
So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. I think yours, Pisces, was ruled by Neptune. I think Sagittarius was like Jupiter, and Taurus was Venus. So like each one has their own planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like when you meet like another Capricorn, they're kind of the same in the mannerisms. If you meet another Pisces, they're kind of the same in their mannerisms. I feel like it's almost like meeting people from that planet.
Right.
You know, like Capricorns are from Saturn. So if I met somebody who was a Capricorn, they would have the same like Saturn type of characteristics.
Well, to me in my brain, it finally made sense. The
Yeah.
men are from Venus and women are from Mars, or whatever
Right?
that. I
But I
probably
think that
quoted
it's
it wrong. Whatever that book
it's
is.
the zodiacs instead. I don't think it's gender. I think it's, you know, if you're from Neptune and I'm from Saturn, of course
Right.
the way that we process things or handle things or see things are going to be different because we're from different planets.
Well, and you and I have totally different things that we like sometimes.
Mhm.
Things that you want to do, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Things that I want to do, you're like, no.
Yeah.
But somehow we have figured out how to get along in all of that. But the different planets, I don't know, that's just bizarre to me, but it also makes sense.
In a weird way, it makes
Yeah,
sense, doesn't
like
it?
that we're all just kind of chilling on our own planet, and then we're like, hello.
Yeah, oh, hi over there. How are you from Venus? Good? Okay, I'm going back to Saturn over here. See ya.
To the ones with the moon. I know I've been random and all over the place, but recently you had a chance to meet up with your absentee father.
Mhm.
Do you feel like he's changed in any way?
No. I don't know him well enough to say whether he actually has or not, but from what I do know, no, I haven't seen any differences. When I saw him last, which was when we lived together briefly, I could sit like this and he wouldn't be able to say 2 words to me. Like, we have never been able to talk, or to really connect. And the last time that I saw him, he spent the time talking about himself. So again, it was one of those, I'm sitting here, but you can't even talk to me.
No
No.
common ground. Yeah.
At this point, I don't feel, I don't know, I feel like if I was younger, I feel like it would have hurt to have said those things. But now I kind of see it as like, he made that decision. And I've been such a better person for being raised by my mom and stuff.
Warned that your father wasn't a great man, or did you have to find out on your own? Like, was that something you ended up experiencing to find out, or were you told he wasn't a good person?
I definitely had to figure it out on my own at first. So,
Like, your mom just let it happen?
yes. So, like, when they divorced, my mom would talk about all of the good moments, which I think was a really positive thing. Like, she wasn't trying to bash my dad in front of me.
That's fair.
She wasn't trying, you know, that's still my dad, you know, so she tried to
Right.
keep it like that. But when I would go and visit, which was only like 3 or 4 times, there were just signs. You know, he would go and leave me with my brother for the entire day. I'd see him in the middle of the night, or like midnight. He'd come home and then leave in the morning. Like,
So you just got to see for yourself that he was just
yeah, and
not a
then
good
by the
person.
time that I started speaking out and asking questions, my mom was honest with me. So by 11, 12, I was already like, he's not very nice, is he? And my
Right.
mom was like, oh, you know,
Not
like,
really.
So,
Did he make any promises to you? Like any future seeing sight, you know?
not really.
He just was like, bye, see you later.
Yeah.
That's so odd to me, just to have a parent be like,
Yeah, it was.
you know?
It was weird for me too. I mean, you know, as a kid, you get your father ripped away. I mean, you see how close Lyra is with her dad. When you have that bond and then it's ripped away and you go back to see that parent that you thought that bond was with and there's nothing there, that's really confusing. you know? And so when I would go and visit, I was probably like 8 the first time. And I was like, this isn't my family. Like, I had that disconnect because, you know, to me it was like her seeing her dad happy and oh my God. And he's just like, hey, you know, like it's just different. So then you're confused of like, oh, well, did I do something wrong? Is that, you know, because of me? And then you grow up and realize, no, that's them.
That absolutely is him. Are you close to your sisters today? You said that you helped raise them from being babies.
Yes, but they drive me crazy.
That's fair.
So, Indy, I love her to death. She's sweet, gives good hugs, but she's starting to get her little sassy moments. Mm-hmm. And when she does, I'm like, girl, who are you? You know, like, like to me it doesn't. Right, I'm like, no, you're the sweet little Indy. Irie, she's sassy. She's 15, and she's 15. She has those behaviors, you know.
She's 15.
I love it. I love it from a distance right now. I have no doubt though that like our bond will be really strong as she grows. It's just one of those where she's a teenager and teenagers are gross, and I love the relationship that they have with Lyra. Mm-hmm. But after spending like 4 or 5 hours, I'm like, y'all gotta go.
You're like, we gotta go. What's some advice you would give to a young married couple? Like, you guys have lived in your car, you've lived in tiny apartments, you've lived with roommates. Like, you're 14 years in, right. You've got the kid in the mix, the dog, the cat, the llama. I don't know. Like, I'm waiting for you to just whip out a tiger out of your car one day.
Hey,
like,
you know what? You never know.
He was for sale on the side of the road. Like, I just see you being that person.
Go ahead.
Nope. Just what advice would you give someone?
My advice would be that it is never you versus your partner. It is you and your partner versus the problem. Okay. And I think that sometimes, you know, you get kind of mixed up, and it does become you versus your partner, and you'll have to stop and take a step back and be like, what are we doing? You know, this is the issue. It's not you that's the issue. Right. It's this thing. How can we come together and fix that thing, you know? And that's a hard one to learn, especially as teenagers.
You and I have talked about that you two are learning to communicate.
Yeah.
Like, you were kind of stuck in your ruts and stuck in the way that you had learned to deal with things, and had gotten to a point that you were ready. You're like, something needs to give. Something needs to change. We need to do this better.
Well, I grew up with a lot of yelling with my ex-stepdad. So for me, communicating was yelling. And I still do it sometimes, where I get upset and I get loud. And I hate that part of me, because I'm like, that's from childhood. I need to stop that.
Right.
So what I would do to stop that was I would text. I would write everything down and then deal with it that way. At some point, you have to figure out, you gotta use your words.
Yeah.
You have to talk about it, even if it's uncomfortable, and that's been...
I think writing it out, though, like, I used to do that to try and process, so that I could get out the angry and the emotional and the everything, so that I could get to the point of talking.
But you also know that writing it out through text or something does not always come across the way you want it to. And that was a big issue, too, of... I might be saying something, but you don't know through text if that's angry or lovey, or, you know, it's difficult.
What's something you want to be known for? Like, what's something about Maddie that, like, you think, if people think of Maddie, what do you want to be known for?
I don't know. I guess I would like to be known for my, like, artistic side.
Okay.
You know, I like this. I love to paint.
I love that you showed our little projects.
I have always been somebody that likes art, even if it's not perfect. Mm-hmm. You know, I've always been creative. That's always something I love, and I would love that people would see that.
All right.
You know?
I like that.
Like, I got my wacky wild side, but it My wacky wild side usually comes out either at the park
I wish
or on
we had a
paintings.
before picture of what you had done to that mushroom. Like, it's not even close to what it was when it started.
Right.
Like, I love the adventure it was. What's some advice you would give somebody with a 3-year-old?
Good luck. That would be my advice. No, my advice honestly would be that it's okay. That, they are tiny people who are learning to be people. And it is just as difficult for the parents as it is for that toddler. We're all learning.
Yeah.
And it's okay to make mistakes. Like, I would definitely say that to the mom of a 3-year-old.
Right, right. So she's going to be going to school soon.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with yourself? You're going to have all these hours without this child that's been glued to you.
I have no clue. I would love to put in more into my soaps. I think that it's a good opportunity to further my business. I took a break. Basically, when I got pregnant, I stopped.
Right.
And then afterwards, I was like, how could I do this with a newborn? How could I do this with a 2-year-old? How could I do that? Now with her at school, I'm like, okay, I kind of have no excuse.
Right.
I'm on my own. Like, I want to focus on that. I also want to focus on my photography. I've always said I wanted to make a book with all the pictures I've taken.
Right.
Because I think that'd be really cool. I have no clue how to do it.
I think it'd be
But that
cool.
would be really cool to do.
They have programs that you can
Right.
put it all together. If you had $1 million in your bank account right now, what would you do?
I would definitely pay off debts, and then I would probably invest some of it so that we continue to have the money going, whether that be into our own personal businesses or something. But and then I would try and buy a house.
All right.
Somewhere. Or land.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd buy land and just disappear.
Where's your spot for right now? Right now, if you have 5 minutes to pick a spot, where are you going?
Oh, fuck.
Where are you going?
I don't know, honestly.
Seconds. 4.
Somewhere in Colorado.
Stay in
I
Colorado
would
for a
stay,
while.
but I would want to be in the mountains.
Okay.
If I had time to think about it, though, I would definitely want to travel around and see what I like. Because who knows? What if I go to British Columbia or Norway and decide that I like it there?
No, the amount of times you tell me things about Antarctica.
Look, one day I will be all over the place. I just need money, okay? And the moment that I have the money to do it, I'm traveling.
Right.
I got things to see. I want to take the train, the Trans-Siberian Railway. I want to go see Svalbard, which is in the Arctic Circle.
No, there's so many.
I got places
I've
to be.
Never even heard of that you show me. I just want to thank you for being my friend. I know this is an adventure. We never really know what we're doing from week to week. Sometimes we're pulling these questions out of our ass and trying to come up with something. But I really do want to get to the point that people have a safe space to come on and talk and be able to share about themselves. Also, I think you're the coolest person. You've come from a lot of adversity. You have not a single man in your life that made it through to this point, except for your husband.
Right.
You definitely have had some extreme experiences growing up and with other people, and yet, despite all of that, you have an amazing 3-year-old. You have this family that you guys are working on. Even your mom comes to you for advice. I come to you for advice. I tell you all the time, I feel like you're the mother hen of our little circle.
I kind of feel like that too.
I feel like the person with the kid ends up just kind of being the mom, and then we all
I was telling you about the mother, maiden, and crone, or maiden, mother, crone.
Yes.
That I moved into the mother spot, and I've noticed that it's everybody kind of flocks to that person.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm that I'm the one who's planning the parties. I'm the one who's trying to set things up, and
yeah,
the person who's there for the advice or the cleanup or the rescue in the middle of the night.
No, I even have friends that I've met through my job who are is Maddie home?
I know.
But yeah, I just I'm really proud of who you are today. You've made it through years and years of mental health struggles, and you have made it through birth struggles and losing a child and all of the things, or pregnancy, I should say pregnancy. People take it different, but I just, as a person, you're just always out there trying to make it a little better for other people.
Right.
Like
Even if I am a little bit cranky about it, I
Yeah.
actually, yes, I'm cranky, but I actually do want the best for people. Even when it comes to like politics, I'm like, I think it's stupid. I think that we should be focusing on peace.
Right.
I literally just want a peaceful life.
I think my most favorite and worst thing about you is when your Southern hospitality falls out, when we're among strangers and Heidi's trying to panic and leave, and you're just making best friends, and I'm panicking, and your mouth is just moving along, making best friends with people.
It's like a sleeper agent that gets activated.
Like
I can't help it. I get nervous, and then all of a sudden I'm like, so how's your day going? And I'm like, this is straight up like somebody from Texas, from the South would do. And I'm just like, why did I do that?
I just don't understand. I'm like, where did the mean Maddie go? Wait, we don't like, okay, we like people today? All right, well, you could have warned me.
It's literally like a sleeper agent. Like, it happens, and then I'm like, why did I do that? Like, there's been times I have looked at you and been like, what happened? Like, what?
It does make me a little happy. Also, I'm prone to vacate premises when it goes down.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Well, we're about to the end. Hopefully they learned a little bit more about you. Like, we all come from trials and adversary, and I'm hoping that people can see the greener side and that we all want to be a better person.
Yeah.
So, and we all got to work on it day to day.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to have to ask some hard questions for you, too.
Yeah, my goal this week is less snacks and more walking. I don't know why I've decided to eat my fillings in food, but it needs to stop. So I'm going to speak it to the universe, and we're going to stop with the snacks.
I've been a little snacky, too. It's become a problem.
Yeah.
And especially if we're going to tackle the incline, we got to every time I do that hill, I keep thinking, I'm doing this because of the incline. Like, every time my calves burn, my thighs, but I am like, I'm doing this because I want to do the incline.
We just need to do it once. Just once.
Just one time.
Just once. I'd be happy with just once. Just once. Also, I don't know if I need to have that just once, every once in a while. I back out of it daily.
It's okay. We'll get there.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. We are trying to get more focused. We would love some ideas on topics, things like that, to get moving forward.
Ooh, or hard-hitting questions. Things that, when we bring people on, obviously we're trying to showcase the struggles that make people who they are today, but sometimes it's kind of hard to think of questions that are, I guess, more focused.
Or topics, topics that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
So, anyways, have a good day and night or morning whenever you guys are listening to this.
We'll see you next week.
Next time.
Bye.